Hi, welcome to Bad Music Taste and Other Ways to Ruin Your Life. My name is Dominic.
And my name is Sam. Dominic has a record this week.
This week's record is Opposite Land by Field Day. This record came out last year, and the copy I have here is a first pressing on blue vinyl. Anyways, today we're talking to Darrin Pfeiffer from Goldfinger, Punk Rock Karaoke, and the Conspirators. How's it going, Darrin?
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's a blast to be here and talk with you finally. We had some trouble earlier on trying to get on down the calendar, but here we are, hiccups aside, and ready to rock, ready to party.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
So recently you've been doing a lot of videos for Punk Rock Karaoke and Mikey and his uke. So what does the process of recording from your houses look like?
Yeah, that was something we did just for fun. And I said, hey, since we're in lockdown, this was, I think, April, we started doing this, April of 2020. And I was like, since we're in lockdown doing really next to nothing, why don't we ask some of our friends to do some songs? And they were like, yeah, well, we're just as bored as you are. So it started with, I have a studio in my house, a drum studio and a podcast studio. So I'm able to go lay down a drum track, make sure it sounds great. And then I call Randy Bradbury from Pennywise and I say, Randy, here's the drums for this particular song that we both know very well. He has a studio at his house as well. So he lays down the bass, high quality bass track. I throw those two together and send it to Greg Hetson from Circle Jerks and Stan Lee of the Dickies. And they eventually, they're a little slow, guitar players. So they eventually get around to putting guitar on it, and the rest is history. Then I put it all together in Final Cut Pro, and I mix it in Pro Tools, and release it every weekend since the pandemic. I think we've only missed one weekend or two over the entire almost year now that we've been doing this, and it's been a lot of fun. We've had some great guests and some great songs. Learned a few songs we didn't already know. Did most of the ones we do. So now, yeah, it's just been something we're doing just to keep all of us busy but more importantly, sane. Because playing music has been part of our lives for so long, and then it got abruptly halted. So this was a great avenue to keep us busy.
Yeah, same for us. We started the podcast April of last year. So it's almost been like a year now.
Time flies, isn't it?
It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
You start a project and you dive in, and then next thing you know, you look at the calendar and a year goes by just like that.
Yeah, but it's definitely made the pandemic that little bit enjoyable.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to, knowing that you're going to be doing a podcast, getting ready for the show, lining everything up, schedules. And then once it's done, putting it all together and then putting it out into the world, promoting it. So all that, because I have my own show, so I know what it's like to do all of that, put it all together and throw it out into the world. And it's a labor of love, but it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, and you have the Dangerous Darrin show. So what prompted you to start your podcast?
I started my podcast about 6 years ago because I wanted to get on air at the Los Angeles terrestrial radio market, like the radio you hear in your car. And I wanted to get on K-Rock. I wanted to get on air at Alt 98.7 in LA, like the modern active rock stations. I felt that I had enough experience in Toronto being on air there for 10 years. And, being in Goldfinger and having the history of the music scene that I had to do a show, but no one was willing to put me on, not because I wasn't qualified. It's just because there's no spots. And when there was a spot, favoritism took control, and they put their buddy in the spot. My buddy's been waiting in the wings. She only has 6 months experience. I got 10 years. So, I did the podcast as a way to keep my chops sharp, my interviewing chops sharp, keep my talking into a microphone chops sharp. That's fine. I got a cat too. You might see her in a minute.
She's never done that before. She's never gone on air.
I think, Dom, it's because of my voice. I have a nice, soothing voice. Animals just seem to flock to me. I'm like Ace Ventura. Yeah, there she is. Look at her. She's cute. Yeah. Cute. Your cat. Oh my God. So
Oh,
cute.
and like right before this, she starts like banging on the door.
Yeah.
Maybe she knew. Maybe she knew who you were going to be talking to.
Yeah.
You never know. So yeah, so that was just something to keep my radio chop sharp. And as time went on, I got more and more high-profile guests like Tony Hawk and Kiefer Sutherland and Fred Armisen and Adam Carolla a couple times, and the sponsors started showing up, like YouTube and Spotify and Pandora and Casper mattresses and Spartan, and now I got beer companies and liquor companies and shoe companies and sunglass companies, and a lot of them are paying money for me to talk about their product on the show. And it's I didn't start it to generate money, but it is, and I'm not going to say no if someone wants to throw me a bunch of cool product and money as well. I'm going to say yes, especially if it's cool stuff like liquor. You guys don't know anything about that, but sunglasses or shoes or microphones. Like I get these microphones for free, so it's been a lot of fun. The drum set, that electric drum kit right here that I need to set up soon. I got that from Roland. That's a really expensive Roland V drum kit that costs about $5,000.
Yeah, I play the drums too.
Those are fantastic drums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mike, the owner, is a good dude, and he's been trying to get me to move over to them for a long time.
Yeah, last year we got like this custom drum set. Like my dad had been wanting to get one for a while, but like he said if he was gonna get a new drum set, then it would have to be like the drum set. So he like designed it, got all these like special hoops and whatnot, and then
Wow.
like a year later.
Is it in the house?
It is. It's in the basement. So
That's awesome. Do you play it?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you play it? Like, do you play it a lot?
Yeah, I played earlier this morning, and I've got this practice pad. I've been trying to learn rudiments because most of the time I'll like go downstairs and it's like listen to it, and then it's just see what happens from there. But my dad is a very rudimental drummer. He specialized in marching band and like snare drum. I'm the complete opposite. Like I would rather play like a full kit than a snare drum, but he's been trying to get me into.
I would say
rudiments.
Try to find a way to live in the medium, live in the middle, a hybrid of both.
Yeah,
I've studied single strokes, double strokes, 5-stroke rolls, flamadiddles, slams, all the good stuff.
I've started earlier today I was playing along to The Police and I found myself like throwing in doubles and I was like, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. So find that balance between learning the rudiments, accepting them, knowing what they are, knowing how to adapt them into drum set playing. It's very important. He's got a good point. But also sometimes just pop in a Dag Nasty song and go for it.
Yeah.
Actually, you have a Minor Threat hat, so
yeah, but that's what I love, just going down there, like listening to it and then just playing along to it.
Yeah. That's how 99.9% of drummers start, is sitting down and playing along to a song. And then one song turns into 10, and 10 turns into 100. Next thing you know, you start picking up things, little feels and shuffles, and you start learning about odds time signatures, and you're learning the differences between the fills, backward, forward, stop, starts. It's all becomes part of your language. And then you take that language and you use that when you join a band. Because if the guitar player or the bass player or the keyboard player writes a song and brings it to the band, you got to know right away, I know what to play here. A quarter note shuffle, or double strokes in this roll here, or I'll swing it here, or I'll dynamically bring it down there, or I'll stop here and start there. You got to be able to pull from that vocabulary. Just like guitar players are like, they learn E, A, D, G, F, C, B. They learn all those chords and the scales, so they're able to. That's their language.
Yeah.
So definitely spend some time with the rudiments. Strongly recommend that, but at the same time, just sit down and bash the tune out.
Yeah.
Because it really does feel good.
Yeah.
So kind of while we're on the topic of your podcast, going back to that, I know you kind of mentioned why you started it and what the reason was, but were there any other podcasts you were trying to emulate or maybe had taken inspiration from when you were beginning?
Not really, no. I knew that Adam Carolla on Westwood One had a bunch of podcasts. I think he's got like 4,000 right now that he's got going on. Joe Rogan's got a great podcast that does really well. I mean, there's literally a podcast for any topic that tickles your fancy. If you're into space, like I'm into space and physics, so I like NASA, Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast. There's a lot of podcasts with physics and space and astronomy, but I dig into also music history in general. Like I love learning about wars and, the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. But I didn't actually shape my podcast to anyone in particular to answer your question. I basically I shaped it on what it was like to be on a tour bus with a band after the show is over and all the equipment is loaded in and everyone's on the bus getting ready for a long drive or a short drive, and everyone's having a drink and relaxing and telling a joke and taking the piss out of each other, and just camaraderie, brotherhood between bandmates, and the times on the bus after a show are the best. There's no stress. The show's over. All the money's been counted. All the gear's been packed away. Let's have a good time. Let's talk and be brothers and friends and for hours and maybe watch a movie and tell some jokes and have a few drinks. So that's the kind of vibe I wanted to bring to my podcast with my friend TS, who is a friend of mine from Buffalo, and we go way, way, way back. And he was also been on tour as a tech for many, many high-profile bands like The Offspring and Rancid and No Doubt and Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros and Social Distortion for many years. He's been all around the world, and he knows the rules and rigors of the road. So again, me and him get down, we have a few laughs, we have a few drinks, we tell a few jokes, we have a couple bits, we bring a guest on for 15, 20 minutes, and then we play a song, and then we tell a few more jokes, we have a few more drinks, and then that's the show. It goes by like that. It's 55 minutes, and it's called The Dangerous Darrin Show, and it's literally everywhere you can find a podcast. It lives on all these platforms. So, and it's been growing steadily over these years, and I couldn't be happier with it.
Yeah, I mean, I know when we started our podcast, we didn't necessarily have anything we were trying to emulate either. Yeah. I guess I was just kind of curious to hear your perspective about that,
Yeah, go your own way, pave your own road, be yourself, take inspiration from other podcasts, and hey, that was pretty funny, or that's really cool. I like the way they got into that bit or got out of that one, and use that to create your brand and make it better every show. Always aim to get better every show.
Yeah, like one of my favorite podcasts is the 9 Club, and I'll watch that and I'm like, oh, they did that instead of that. So so it's just like taking little pieces from different.
What's great about the podcasting world is you guys can only assume have never been on air at a regular radio station, right?
Yeah.
I have, and it's good and bad. The good is you're reaching a large audience, you're playing music, and you're getting paid for it. And you're having a few jokes and having a few laughs, and again, you get a paycheck, and you're like, I can't believe they're paying me for this. I would do this for free. I never said that to anybody. But with podcast, but there's rules in radio. You can't say this, you can't say that. The breaks have to be this long, and don't go here, don't go there. This is a crutch. Don't say this. And you do it because you want to keep your job and you want to keep the bosses happy and the big bosses happy. But with podcasting, it's literally you can say whatever you want. You can be, within reason. You can't be racist. You can't be sexist. You can't be a dick. Don't be a dick. Bottom rule. Like, just don't be. And there's certain things that are automatic, like the things I just mentioned. But other than that, there's no rules. You can swear as much as you want or as little as you want. You can talk about literally any topic under the sun, whereas at some radio stations, they shy away from that. They're like, hey, don't talk about that. That turns people off, and they might want to turn the channel. And it's gotten to the point where these radio stations can actually tell when people tune out. They have these algorithms and these eyes in the sky, and that can tell when people tune out. I actually was on Alt 98.7. I was producing for a little while in LA. They wouldn't put me on air, which was frustrating. But then I did a show called King's Corner for a year through iHeartMedia, through AM 570 in Los Angeles, covering the Los Angeles Kings. A big passion of mine, hockey. And King's Corner, I go to the games, I'd report, I'd blog about the show before the game, I'd blog about the game after the game. And I said, why don't you put this on the regular AM 570 radio station itself proper? Like, give me a 5-minute segment. Give me a 3-minute segment. He's like, Darrin, I'd love to. I love the Kings. I know that they've won Stanley Cups, so yada, yada. It's all great and stuff. And the games sell out. But we can actually see listenership dip when we talk about hockey. We talk about the Kings or the Ducks, and it dips. And then when you talk about the Lakers or the Dodgers, it goes right back up again. They can see this chart. I don't care about that. Like, if I want to talk about the Lakers for 10 minutes, I talk about the Lakers for 10 minutes. And if you don't like it, then don't listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no one. There's no red phone blinking like, stop talking about the Kings. So there's no rules. There's so much freedom in podcasting. It's and that's why it's growing. The medium itself, podcasting, is growing exponentially. It's getting really, really big.
Yeah, like our main thing is like we mainly post on YouTube, but we have like we're on like Spotify and whatnot, but mainly YouTube. And like we have like analytics, like how many views, like when people stop listening. Who cares? It's fun. So
Right. Like
leave it at that.
We've always said as long as we still enjoyed it and as long as it was just fun for us to talk to and like have a conversation with these people, then we're doing the thing right. You know, I think the reason we started it was because we just needed that like communication with people and like talking to people back when everything started. And just the way it's progressed is definitely a lot more than we ever thought it would. So I mean, I'm pretty proud of what we've done with it, honestly.
Yeah, and you'll see as time goes on and the show gets bigger and you'll get better numbers and better analytics and bigger and better guests, that you will eventually see sponsors coming towards you and saying, hey, will you talk about this? Will you talk about that?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, again, got any money? And
Yeah,
they might go,
I mean-
no, but we'll send you a bunch of cool product. And you're like, okay. And then, or they might go, yeah, we have a little bit of money. We'll throw you this much money. Cool.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, is it cool to see the views go up? Sure, but is it like if it's not fun and like, oh, a lot of views, then like
yeah, you know what? You're both right about the fun aspect. It's got to be fun, or why do it? If
Right.
it's not fun anymore, then it seems like a job.
yeah.
Yeah,
always
that's
do
exactly what
improve.
we said. As long as it was never work and we never were like, oh, gotta go do an interview, then it's like, we'll do it, you know, because it's something we enjoy.
Amen.
Yeah,
Mm.
like there's gonna be parts that suck about anything, but overall, it's a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, kind of switching it up a bit, when you were a teenager, you played in a thrash metal band called Beyond Death. So, would you say your love for thrash metal inspired your love for punk rock as well?
I got into thrash metal because I was into hard rock. Like, I was into the stuff that everyone else was listening to, like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and Van Halen. And then that quickly, I like that, but it quickly morphed into I want something a little bit heavier. It's like a drug addict always wanting a better drug. I wanted something a little heavier, a little faster, a little gnarlier. So then I discovered Metallica, and I discovered Megadeth, and I discovered Slayer. And then I went a little harder into Napalm Death and, Morbid Angel and like all the death metal stuff. And so joining, and then punk rock kind of was in there somewhere. Like I was into Sabbath and I was into Led Zeppelin. And at the same time, I discovered the Ramones and I discovered the Clash. My very first punk rock band that I got into was the Clash. My mom bought me Combat Rock for Christmas one year. And I remember seeing the four guys on the cover and going, oh, okay, the Clash. And she goes, I just thought you'd like it. They look like nice guys. And I put it on and it changed my life. And from now I dove into the Ramones, and then I got into Sex Pistols, and then I got into, some of the other stuff that was out there. And so metal, hard metal, thrash, and punk were kind of at the same time. I loved them both. They were just like food, like two different types of food. You can like Mexican, you like Italian. They're both delicious foods. So I went on and joined that band Beyond Death and played some shows around Buffalo. But my love, I didn't want to. I knew I wasn't going to make it in Buffalo, New York. The scene in Buffalo is so finite and so small compared to New York City, Chicago, or Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So the band broke up and then reformed a month later as Cannibal Corpse. So everyone's like, "You were in Cannibal Corpse?" I'm like, "Technically, no."
Yes,
Kinda.
but no.
Kind of. So and then I moved to Los Angeles in '92.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that they reformed as Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, that was a new fact.
Yeah.
Some guys left and then other guys came in, and then they're like, okay, you're from this band, you're from that band, you're from Beyond Death. Well, what are we going to call ourselves? And then Cannibal Corpse, and then the rest is history. The rest is death metal history. And as far as death metal goes, like they're right there at the very top. I mean, they're the gods of the genre. And I'm lucky enough to call them my friends. I can't listen to too much of that stuff. I can listen to maybe 20, 30 minutes of Cannibal Corpse or any type of fast, gnarly death metal before I want to slow it down and like listen to the Carpenters.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's like a certain amount of it. And you're like, all right, I'm moving on now. I'm going to do something else.
Yeah. All right. Time for Lionel Richie.
Yeah, that's the great thing about music is people say to me, what do you listen to every day? I'm like, I have absolutely no idea until I wake up. Again, like food, you wake up and maybe tonight I want maybe today I want a bagel, and maybe today I want some cereal, and maybe I'll some oatmeal. Like literally, music is the same way with me. I wake up and want to listen to Beethoven, my favorite classical artist. Or I'll wake up and want to listen to Cannibal Corpse, or I wake up and want to listen to The Clash. There's really no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, honestly, I'm the same way because I'll make like playlists so that there's a little bit of everything, and I'm like, this makes no sense. I'm like, this is all over the place, and like every other song is every other song is a different mood, and like you said, the only person that it makes sense to is just me. Everybody else is like, that's dumb.
Therein lies the beauty of music consumption. The joys of having yappy little dogs.
Finally, our last question. Are your feelings for Wayne Gretzky still just as strong as they were 18 years ago?
I'd have to say yes. I've loved Wayne Gretzky his entire career. Would I have sex with him? Well, now I'm married, so if I had sex with Wayne Gretzky, that would technically be cheating. But I'm pretty sure that if I had sex with Wayne Gretzky and told my wife, we could work it out. We would find out, listen, honey, it's not some girl. It's an old guy. Like, I think he's 60.
You've written songs about him.
I mean, if you write this song about the guy, I feel like that's
it's not even like a super hot guy, like, you know, like McConaughey or Christian Bale or what's my man crush? The guy that was in I'm drawing a blank. The guy that was in all the Hangover movies. What's the good-looking guy in Hangover movies? What's his name?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
He's my man crush. So it sounds like that. It's like an old guy in his 50s, like early 60s. So if I had sex with Wayne Gretzky, I'm sure I'd still be married. We'd find a way to work it out. So yeah, to answer your question, my love for him is still very strong.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. I hope people can check out the podcast, Dangerous Darrin Show, when they get a chance, and check out Punk Rock Karaoke, wherever it's online. At this point, when you have a guest on and they tell people the social media tags on Twitter and Instagram, I think that's unnecessary. I think if you're consuming podcasts like yours or any podcast, mine, you know how to use a phone, you know how to use a tablet or a computer. So if I said, check out Dangerous Darrin Show, no one watching this podcast is going to go, how on earth do I find it? They're going to know exactly how to find it. So check out the Dangerous Darrin Show. Check out Punk Rock Karaoke. And guys, thanks for having me on. This was a blast.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Awesome. Okay, cheers.